Evening all, evening all, evening Joker. How you doing?
Afternoon.
It's evening here. It's not afternoon. Is your clock wrong?
My
Are
body
you
clock is.
are you are you on American time? Is that what you're on? Because we know they're
No,
wrong.
I'm on the sun has knackered me to the point that I don't know what time of day it is.
Yeah. It's a bit. It's been a bit warm today. Been a bit warm here today. Good evening, chat. Hello, Holocaust, Straw Piglet, and Jeb, and anybody else who might be lurking. Hope you're all well. Hope you're all well. As long as you don't quote the Atomic Kitten version of the Tiger's Eye. That was a
Tidy's
cover
high
related.
gone.
Look, Blondie's version's fine. The girl band called Atomic Kitten did a version of it here about 25 years ago. And oh God, was it awful? Was it? Yeah, it was shocking.
There's a little high
So,
pitch there.
yeah. Typical girl band rubbish.
It was at the
So,
time.
the weather's. Um, it was when there was tons of boy bands and girl bands out there. Your Westlifes and your Take That's and Spice Girls and all that sort of stuff. Yes, lots of us had posters of Blondie. For men of a certain age, she's the subject of a lot of interesting thoughts.
The same as Jet was for Gladiators.
Yeah, Jet of Gladiators. Yes. And of course, Susanna Hoffs.
Yes.
Yes. So, yes.
Anyway, where were we?
Yeah, we're just being crude. Sorry to any ladies who might watch this, but we're blokes and we're doing and we're talking about bloke things as we will because it's Friday night and I've got a week off work and I'm going to enjoy it and I'm going to use it for gaming and I'm going to use it to read through lots of gaming stuff, prepare lots of gaming stuff, and just sort of get on top of things that I haven't been able to do because of work. So good. That's what I'm going to do. And I might even get a few days in Wales at the end of it. We shall see. But right now, I'm tired. It's been a rough month and a half, 2 months or so at work. I don't know who Carol Alt is. No idea at all. She was probably popular in America. Was she in some American TV show in an American band that didn't make it big over here? Model and actress. Okay. I've never heard of her. Might have to Google later.
Oh, but the only thing I recognise her name being in was Thunder in Paradise with Hulk Hogan.
I've never seen it. I've actually never seen anything in which Hulk Hogan has attempted to act. So, anyhow,
Yeah.
we were playing. 2 weeks ago when we last did one of these, we were playing that because, of course, last week I went and spent too much money at my daughter's football club, and what's good? They've got a new coach. You know, I probably told you a few times that she wasn't overly happy with how the previous coach was using her because even the first team coach sees her as a strong midfield prospect, and she's just got to toughen up and get a bit of experience dealing with the physicalities of the higher leagues before she plays more often for the firsts. She's only 20, she's fairly inexperienced. and it is a step up. But when she was playing for the development team, mostly an under-21s team, the coach was using her as like a gadget player, putting her in various places all over the pitch, rather than learn the position that she's being prepared to play. And if a new player came in to try out, it was always Holly that got moved somewhere else, which was very frustrating. I know they think, okay, she can play other positions, but it was always her that made way, because she could fill in everywhere. So what's nice is that, well, that coach has gone and a new coach has come in, and we weren't sure what he was going to be like. And basically, they've played every friendly they've played so far. They're doing pre-season friendlies. She has played her position all 90 minutes of the game. She's started. She's not been scheduled to be substituted. She's not been substituted. She's not been moved. She's in her position, and that's where he's putting her. And he's asking her for input regarding sort of how's it going, tactics, and all that sort of stuff, which is good. So obviously he sees her as a someone who's capable of giving feedback, someone's capable of giving into constructive criticism in a sensible manner, which is good. So hopefully all this feeds through. Anyhow, where were we?
Derailing as normal?
Derailing, yeah, completely. Right, I've got written down here that we're on 90, and we've picked to go to 122. Okay, right. I'll read 90 again, and we have chosen to go to 122. If you remember, we've arrived in this. We've crossed a lake to visit a lakeside town. A fog has sort of followed us in, and we went to an auction, and there were some odd things being sold at the auction, and we bought a few of them. And there were some strange people at the auction who were a little bit perturbing.
What did we buy?
What did we buy? We bought I haven't written what we bought on the character sheet. Unless, hold on. No, I haven't written what we bought on the character sheet. I thought I was all organised there for a moment. Sorry.
Jeb says journal.
Diary, crown, and cylinders. There we go. I'm going to write those down.
Thank you, Hanukkah.
Diary, crown, cylinders. Excellent. Hello, Elfbait. Iman's popped in and said, "Hello, Iman. You." Oh. Iman is playing heroic. He's being heroic with Saxius, and that's a good thing because it means he's playing games. And he's become a complete game whore recently. Haven't you, Iman? If you're earwigging.
Multitasking as well.
It's probably multitasking, yes, yeah. But that's what these youngsters can do. I can't. I'm not very good at multitasking. These youngsters can do it. I just get all and everything goes wrong. Right, anyway. Jeb's confident. We don't need it. Don't need the statue. Here we go. You walk into town towards the Harris address. Even knowing the location, it's difficult to find your way due to your unfamiliarity with the town and the density of the peculiar green mist. As a result, it's some time before you arrive at the Harris house. As you approach the building, a man steps out of the fog, blocking your path. He is young and thin, with rather angular features and the faint hint of a moustache atop his lip. He's dressed in a dark suit and stares at you from beneath a flat cap. You're an unwelcome surprise. I don't know what you're looking for, but you won't find it here. Your eyes betray you as you glance at the Harris house. The man scowls visibly. Why don't you leave the poor widow alone, you creep? If you want to bother her, you're going to have to go through old Joshua here. Capiche? His hand brushes beneath his coat as if searching for something, but then he stops himself. He pauses for a moment, looking you over once more before spitting on the ground at your feet and turning away. So, yeah, and we chose to heed his warning and return to the hotel. So I was just giving you a reminder of where we got to, and thus we go to the hotel. Boot them in the nuts. Haven't seen Hungar for a little while. Hope he's well. Richard, no, it's being run in Bear's Discord. And it's the first time Saxius is running it, first time Iman's playing it. So I think they're just sort of learning it, having a bit of a casual game in the Discord. So not streamed, no. Feeling that it's the best course of action right now, you return to your room at the hotel. You turn the key in the lock and your door swings open to reveal a startling scene. Your room has been ransacked. The bed is overturned and the covers are strewn about. The dresser drawers have all been pulled out and emptied. Your briefcase lies open on the floor. Anything of value you had is gone. Anything you may have gained from the estate sale is no longer in your possession, and anything you brought with you beyond the basic essentials is likewise missing. The window hangs open, letting the greenish mist into the room. You close it to keep out the chill and begin to set things straight while you overcome the shock of what's happened. As you consider your options, the sounds of a loud and violent commotion drift in from the room next door. Do we ignore the scuffle or do we investigate?
Does that mean we've lost everything we bought?
Yeah, afraid so.
Let's investigate.
Investigate. It's me having to. That's better. I can. With these glasses on, I can read because the screen to my right is slightly closer than the one in front of me, but I can't see anything of the screen in front of me.
Richard says investigate. Jeb says investigate. Oh, Halakar investigate.
Jeb's doing it. I told you so. Told you so. Okay, looks like people want to investigate. Indeed. Indeed. Fearing that someone might be in danger, perhaps that this commotion is somehow related to the theft from your room, you rush to investigate. You find the adjacent room's door open, and inside you discover a large and familiar-looking man in a dark suit. He looms over the prone body of a beaten and bloodied Buddhist monk. The man in the suit has clearly worked him over. The suited man has his back to you, and you doubt you've been noticed yet. With a little luck, you might be able to get the drop on him and subdue him quickly. Alternatively, if you've come into possession of a firearm during your stay in Esbury, you can always resort to lethal force. We haven't. But we have a choice. We haven't got a firearm, so our only option is to attempt to subdue the man by making a fighting brawl check. Here we go.
Woo-hoo.
We have 25% in fighting brawl. Oh, balls.
Oh,
To subdue the man, make a fighting brawl roll with a bonus die. Oh, a bonus d10. Okay, the bonus d10.
let's try again.
No. If you fail, you take 1d3 damage. Okay. Okay, that's good. It isn't. We're down to 8 hit points. If you survive this, go to 129. However, if you reduce you to 0 hit points, the man beats you to death. That's nice of him. No, we've survived. You take a step towards the man. He hears your approach and rounds on you, swinging wildly with a shout of surprise. His fist catches you in the chest and sends you sprawling backwards. He throws himself on top of you, landing blow after blow with his fists. You raise your arms to fend off the worst of his fury, but he works you over. I'm switching back to the other glasses. It might be the light in here that's causing this. No, neither of them are good at the moment. Amid the confusion, you glance up to see the monk running out of the room. Finally, the man in the suit grabs you by the collar and begins slamming you violently against the floor. It takes only a few such blows before you lose consciousness. Oh! You awake, stripped of any weapon, and tied to a chair in a dusty basement. The first thing you notice is the pain from your wounds. They are still fresh and have not been tended to in any way. The second thing you notice is the table across from you with its strange collection of items. A pair of cracked clay cylinders, a gemstone-studded altar with curious scrawls, a stack of papers, and an unnatural-looking idol of sea-green stone fashioned in the shape of a lizard-like creature. Standing next to the table is a man that you can't quite make out in the dimness of the room. He puffs absently on a cigar as he stares at you. Behind the table is a still and other bootlegging equipment. You turn your head to see one of the suited men from before leaning against the door, sipping from a flask. When you begin to move, the unknown man walks over to you. He grins widely, and you spot a glint of madness in his eyes as he hovers at the edge of the illuminated area. He produces a knife from his pocket, and the blade catches the glimmer of the dim bulb flickering above. The stranger shoots a glance at the suited man by the door, who then nods and leaves. The remaining man comes into the light and presses the knife against your cheek. It digs into your flesh, nicking you and drawing a drop of blood on the tip. Thought you could cause trouble for Josh, eh? I'm going to enjoy this, getting rid of my little problem. Everything was fine until you started snooping around. You're putting me and Amelia both in danger here, and you're getting in the way of my plans. So, I'm going to enjoy tearing open your throat and offering up your life to the idol. Perhaps it will please him, and thus I'll get what I want. I'll finally make my way into that beautiful place that I've seen in my dreams. It will be over soon, but I will bleed you. But I will bleed you slow, because I want to enjoy this. He takes the knife and presses it deeper. You struggle reflexively against your bonds, trying to escape your pain. Perhaps if you struggle hard enough, you can break free. Make a strength roll. Eyes work. I'd say that's a success, wouldn't you? Wouldn't you?
6.
I'd say that, yes. Yes, I think a success is understatement there. We have a strength of 50, and that is really good. So, if you succeed, go to 115. You struggle against your bonds as you begin to panic. Mercifully, they give way. Joshua is shocked by the sound of snapping rope echoing off the walls, and he jumps away from you on pure reflex. You act on instinct. Without thinking, you rush towards him, attempting to wrestle the knife from his grip. You know that you need to be the one in control of the weapon if you're going to survive this, especially as there's another armed man just outside the door. You grasp Joshua's forearm, preventing him from attacking you with the knife. You then try to pry it from his hand, even as you jab and strike at him with knees and elbows, hoping desperately that you can snatch the blade from his grip. Right. I think if we fail on this fighting brawl roll, we ought to use some luck. Luck? Luck? You reckon that's 14? We need to use 14 luck to pass this. We have 43 luck. Reckon this is a good one to pass with luck? Say yay or nay. Shout loudly, I am the doom that came to Sarnath. Then give him the hunger. Kick him in the nuts. Luck, chaps, luck. We had 11 people watching at one point, and now we're down to 5. Where did they all go? Where did they all go? Where? Buggers. Yeah, buggers. Yes. Don't die while you're AFK. Okay. All right. Yep. Using luck. It's not being streamed. The heroic game isn't being. Let me have a little look. See if anyone's lurking in that. I can see the heroic game. No, it's still Iman and Saxius and somebody else. It's still the same people playing. Anywho, let's get my shared thing back up on my screen. There we are. So we're using luck. Succeed, go to 133. You throw a punch at Joshua's face and send him stumbling backwards, stunned. You manage to rip the knife from his grasp and he regains his footing. You take the blade and swiftly plunge it into his chest. Joshua's face takes on a pained and shocked expression, as if offended that you dare kill him. Still, he slumps to his knees. He looks up at you as he begins to die. His eyes glaze over and stare at you with a smouldering malevolence. Strange words pass from his lips as the last of his life fades away. Bakragran bethinkengaft I. A last shuddering breath rattles his body, and he slumps into a lifeless heap at your feet. You feel greatly disturbed by this, but you attempt to shake it off and move on. You survey the room. The table at the far end is covered in curious artifacts, as well as a large stack of papers. There's little else here save for the flickering bulb above you, the empty chair, and Joshua's dead body. You might consider leaving this place, as sitting in a dank basement with a fresh corpse is not an entirely pleasant experience. Okay. Make a sanity roll.
And Halakar is back to his generous self again.
Cast Reveal Lurker, and there's Paul Morgan and Barney Fraggles and Mark Goldfine and Jason Jacobson, Red Banana, Andre Villarreal, the 13th God's Mercenary, Kendo, and Zach Zander. I know 2 of those names. Reveal Lurker. Thank you, Halakar. Thanking you muchly. Right, we're going to make a sanity roll. Here we go. Oh, okay. 1d3.
Like sanity.
Yeah, 1d3 if we fail. That's 2 sanity loss. We've got lots of sanity. We're on 78. So, okay, do we look over the items or do we leave the place? Do we have a look or have we got to get out of this place?
Look. gotta get out of space. If it's the last thing we ever do.
Bit of Animals, good band. Three votes for Look. Anybody else voting? I know Straw Piglet's AFK at the moment. No more votes? No more votes?
We're looking.
We are looking. And there goes Richard. There's the fourth vote, which means we are looking. Andy, I saw that message. It's obvious that cultist. Have you been on the pop, Andy? Have you been on the pop? Had a few. It's Friday night. I know you're on call, aren't you? Probably on call this weekend. Blag. Right, we are looking. 210. You stand over the table of curious artifacts, confident that they have something to do with the strange events in Esbury. You decide it's best to look over them and glean what information you can from them. You begin by leafing through the stack of notes. You realize they contain some of the same characters that are written on some of the ancient items. You may be able to use these notes to assist in any translation attempts you wish to make. There's also an empty sack on the table that was used to bring these relics here. You are free to load them back up and take them with you. After examining each item, it will be added to your inventory and you'll be redirected back to this inventory or given the option to proceed as appropriate. You should not select any item more than once. When you're ready, feel free to leave. Okay. So,
Load it up.
Shall we just do them in order?
Yes.
Look at all of them in order. I think that's a good idea.
Yeah.
What do you reckon, chat? Oh, we've got a Daniel.
Evening, guys.
Hello. How long have you been lurking there?
I have, and I'm running late. I had to make dinner and stuff.
That's all right. So I didn't know how long you've been waiting to jump in the stream for. So I wasn't looking. I've not been looking at that stream because I've got my short range glasses on. Oh, it's obvious that the cultist hadn't been eating his porridge. Yes, that's what it is. That's what it is. Food of the cultists. Especially with jam stirred into it. Bright red. Warm. Yes, bright red raspberry jam or strawberry jam. If you want to look over the journal first, yeah, all of them. Journal first, yeah, Jeb. I think you're right there, Jeb. Looking through the book, you become deeply engrossed and spend the next few hours in study. The time spent yields valuable information. Professor Harris made several trips to India starting about 12 years ago. During these visits, he went to multiple sites to make observations and recover artifacts. His longest and most profitable trip appears to have been 10 years ago, during an excursion to Sarnath, India, where he writes about recovering several items from an active Buddhist shrine. Apparently, Professor Harris had some regrets about this theft, because he couldn't resist having the artifacts for his personal collection. The descriptions of the items he came across in Sarnath match some of the items at the estate sale last night. The clay cylinders, the gemstone-encrusted altar, and the lizard-like idol are all described in detail in the entries related to this trip to Sarnath. These same items then appear throughout the rest of this journal. He'd clearly been studying these items over the past decade and developed something of a fixation with them. It was the idol that initially caught Harris's eye, and according to him, the depiction of the great and grotesque water lizard matched no description of any known Hindu deity. Hoping to find clues to the idol's identity, Harris set about trying to translate the mysterious script on the cylinders and the altar. In doing so, he met with significant difficulty, as the text was only barely recognizable as an archaic dialect of a pre-Sanskrit language. The process was slow and painstaking until about a year ago. At this time, Professor Harris writes of having a strange and enlightening dream. He reports walking in the ancient world from whence these items originated, a grand city of marble walls and onyx streets, of bronze gates and marvelous palaces and gardens. He writes of visiting the 17-tower temples of this ancient city and meeting the bearded gods who dwelled there, sat upon their ivory thrones. Harris calls the strange place Sarnath, despite the sheer impossibility of this. He claims that among the temples he learned the secrets of the ancient writing. His next entry goes on to describe the odd clay cylinders as the brick cylinders of Cadatharon, though he hadn't yet identified the other objects. The next few pages have been torn from the journal. Hello, Nerd. The entries resume with more mundane matters, though there are still references to the artifacts from time to time. The most recent entries in the journal speak of Harris's daily studies and living with Amelia. It's clear that he cares about her deeply from the way he writes about her, but he laments that his studies keep him from spending the time with her that he would like. Instead, he lavished her with gifts and money, which she was all too happy to accept. He notes that Amelia had never been happier, despite the distance between them. The last entry to catch your eye is dated a little over a week ago. Apparently, the pages torn from this journal went missing only recently. Professor Harris expresses deep concern at this, as there were no signs of forced entry to his study, and only he and Amelia had access to it, though he was sure he hadn't removed them from the journal himself. Naughty girl. You finish your reading by glossing over the last week of the professor's life, which is rather uneventful and peaceful beyond his continued obsession with the artifacts and his occasional worries about Amelia. Hello, Ralph. You've snuck in as well. I'm having to bounce between screens. I'm having those eye issues again. It's caused by tiredness, I'm afraid. Caused by work. If you want to look over the clay cylinders, go to 218. Looks like we have got our statue. Yeah, I mean, we've got the journal, we've got the cylinders, altar, and the idol.
We've got everything back we lost.
We haven't got the crown anymore. Looks like that wasn't important. Clay cylinders, 218. You turn the hardened clay cylinders over in your hands and eyes. You turn the hardened clay cylinders over in your hands, your eyes falling on the large cracks running through both items. Despite this damage, their solid construction has led to the cylinder's survival throughout the ages. The next most obvious quality is the strange writing that is plastered along the side of each cylinder. It's quite remarkable in that it doesn't resemble any language known to you. Using the notes on the table, you attempt to translate it. Make an archaeology check. Okay. Our archaeology is 1.
Yep.
We can do it.
82. No, we can't. Gemstone altar. You examine the extraordinary altar. The most readily apparent features beyond its size are the many gemstones set into its surface. They're of a greenish-yellow color and shine even in the half-light of the room. You also notice strange lettering written in broad strokes along the object's sides. The symbols are smeared and sloppily done, suggesting they are written with some haste. What you had originally taken for paint is, upon closer examination, dried blood.
Yeah.
While you cannot be certain, it would appear that this item has been involved in some tragedy. Using the notes on the table, you may be able to piece together a translation of the text written in blood. Make an archaeology roll.
But
Okay. Next time we make a character for this, we're an archaeologist. Okay. Yes. Yes, chat.
yeah,
Yes. Yes. 83. I don't think having 50 odd in archaeology would really be helping here with rolls
not
like this,
really.
but not really. No.
Not with these dice rolls.
We'd have needed 0 1s to a piglet to make it. It's equal to or less than. So 0 1. Because of course 0 0 is 100. And is a critical fail. 210. And look over the idol. Right. You look the idol over. It's made of a sea green stone and chiseled in the likeness of a water lizard of some sort. The sculpture is grotesque and hideous, and the depiction of the lizard-like creature unnerves you. Still, the work is extremely well preserved and unquestionably ancient. You feel uncomfortable staring at the alien-looking thing for too long, so you stow it away in the sack out of sight. It's an idol of Cthulhu, isn't it? Okay, so we have an option now to check the bedroom upstairs or to leave the house. Bedroom or leave?
Everybody to the bedroom.
Pervs. Bedroom or leave? Boudoir. Boudoir. Boudoir.
That's the other translation of yippee-ki-yay.
Yippee-ki-yay.
You know what comes after that, right?
What? Go on.
Bedroom.
There's a snake in my boot.
Richard says, leave. I have enough ex-wives.
I will contest that.
There might be cakes within date.
Hello, Jason. One of the recipients of the mighty Halakar's generosity.
I've 10 memberships. They're still hiding Daniel's.
Oh, we're still hiding Daniel's face. Oh, Daniel's not showing his face.
Nah, I'm dragging ass and looking like crap today.
I mean, if you were to zoom in on my eyes, they are very bloodshot.
Oh, me too. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been up since 4.
I've not been getting to sleep till about 2. Being woken up about 7. And then having a busy day at work.
You have new neighbors?
No, it's just it's warm, and my wife's alarm goes off at 5:30, which makes me stir.
Yeah.
Then I need to get up for work.
I forgot she goes to work earlier.
Yeah, I spend far too long online chatting to people late at night. Mostly Iman people and Saxius and people like that.
Iman, the British person that never sleeps.
Yes, and chat to Brian, whoever's on there at silly o'clock. Slan pops in as well. Thank you, Jason. Thank you. Comments like that warm my cold heart. Right, we're boudoiring because I think only Richard wants to leave. The rest of you are just sort of drawn in by the option of going to a bedroom. Pretty sure we died in this bedroom before. Oh, oh no, maybe not. Maybe not. You open the door to find a bedroom, much as you'd expected. The room clearly belongs to a bachelor, as the only feminine object is a set of lace sleepwear lying across the bed. You look to a nearby nightstand and find several framed photographs of Joshua and Amelia, so you assume the clothes are hers. Peeking out of a drawer in the nightstand is an open box of bullets, as well as several bottles of bootleg whiskey.
Yeah.
You scan the rest of the room. The only other object of note is a dresser. You search it and find it to be full of men's clothing, the sort that Joshua would wear. However, as you are rifling through the things, you find an envelope. Turning it over, you see it's unsealed, and judging by the crumpled state of it, the letter inside has been read over several times. Ralph, behave. You pull out the letter and begin reading. It appears to be a correspondence between Joshua and a Dr. Weber, based out of Arkham. Weber is apparently a psychotherapist that Joshua sees on a monthly basis. According to the letter, the past few months have been quite difficult for Joshua. In addition to his criminal activities and his relationship with Amelia, he has been troubled by strange dreams, which Dr. Weber labeled as obsessive delusions. I believe they're full bottles of whiskey, so it's not Daniel's room.
No, mine are almost all empty.
Hello, Robert. You've snuck in, haven't you? Joshua has a fixation with a particular dream of a beautiful city in a far-off land. He describes the city as made of marble and says that sometimes he wakes up crying because he has to leave it behind in his dreams. He also reports seeing a frightening lizard thing in the water off the shore of this strange city. Sometimes in the night it whispers that it knows the way to the city. Though the lizard thing scares him, he listens to the whispers. Joshua professes a deep desire to go to the city, though he doesn't know where it is or even if it's real. For his part, Dr. Weber assures Joshua that these things are completely fictitious, that he must find a way to return to reality and leave the delusions behind. You return the letter to its envelope and then slip everything back where you found it, thinking about how this affects the course of events here in Esbury. Silently, you return to the main area of the house. You may now investigate the basement or leave the house. We've been to the basement, haven't we?
And Mercurius has made his grand entrance.
As Mercurius slid in.
With 5 gifted.
Hello, Mercurius. Hello, thank you, Mercurius. CK Mission, Jason Hartley, Michael A. Brooks, X Doffy, and Charles Lenny. If any of you are lurking, if any of those names are lurking, make sure you prod Mercurius and say, good day. There we have it. There we have it.
But what was
How you
that
doing,
about the
Mercurius?
basement?
We've been to the basement is where we've been. So no, we've escaped from the basement. I needed to check, so I just checked, and it was a basic description of the items that we've picked up already. So we've already been there.
No need.
So leaving the house, yeah, we've already done search the cellar. So leaving the house is the only option.
Fresh air.
Well, it was bad in the basement. I used 13 luck to allow us to 14 luck, sorry, to allow us to survive the basement.
Ouch.
Yeah, Jeb, has Jeb ever received one of the memberships? He's been here for must be 18 months, most Fridays, and never received anything. Jeb, make sure your membership receipt thing's switched on. We've already Mercurius is doing his back to front thing again because he's upside down. Ah, right. I suppose that's fair. Daniel's joining in now as well.
Hey!
Hey. Right, so we've got Larry Nintendo, Billy Baloney, Joan Canario, it could be Juan Canario, Dylan
Wow.
McBride, and Hyper Sniper Gaming. If your name is if you're a lurker and your name has just been called out, pop in and say hi.
Say ho.
We don't bite. We don't bite.
Only if you ask.
Right.
It depends on who I pay.
Which does
How's the
mean
alimony going?
shh. Don't say anything.
Yeah.
So there's Daniel's gift as well. You've been really
We're on
generous
a
tonight,
roll.
fellas. We're on a roll. We have been really generous tonight, fellas. Mercurius says he bites.
Ask my ex-wives.
Oh, they bite. I've heard. You've told me all the stories. So many stories about them.
Pretty
It serves you right for marrying harpies, by the sound of things.
much. Hey, they were good looking.
Yes, but once the charm wears off, you realise what a filthy hag they really are.
Correct. That's why I have my Deborah.
Damn the succubus.
But now you found yourself a decent bird, haven't you, Dan?
Yep.
There you go.
Far more than decent.
A good one. A good one.
Yep. She puts up with me doing this crap 3-4 times a week, so yeah.
I think mine likes the fact that I'm up here now and not bothering her anymore.
Just go.
Evening, Keith. Evening, PBR Street Gang. Hello. People piling in now. You decide you've seen enough of Joshua's house and that you have no reason to linger here. You exit the building and close the door behind you. You look out into the fog and find it thicker than you remember. You can see almost nothing. Compounding this problem is the darkness, which has completely fallen while you were inside. Armed with new knowledge, you feel prepared to confront what lies ahead of you. You take a few steps out into the street and are shocked to find the town's cobblestones waterlogged. The lake's water level is rising, and Esbury is beginning to flood. Given earlier events, you suspect this might not be entirely natural. Even if it is, the rapidly rising water is a serious threat in itself. You feel a twinge of fear, but overcome it and spur yourself into action. You know you must escape the flood and that you must act quickly. If you know where to meet with Banyu, now is the time you may choose to do so. No. So, do we search for higher ground and hope to avoid the rising waters? Do we try to outrun the rising tide? And we can't go meet up with Banyu because we don't know who Banyu is. Higher ground or run away from the rising tide?
Higher ground.
I now have that bass line going in my head.
5 feet high, rising. How high is the
Not
water, mama?
Not that. No, Joker. No. I've got a bass line going in my head at the moment.
Oh, the Odeon ever.
No, Higher Ground. The Stevie Wonder song that Red Hot Chili Peppers covered. Good cover it is as well. Hello, Coco. Outrun, higher ground, Higher ground, higher ground, higher ground. Higher ground and outrun. Looks like higher ground is winning.
Aye.
It's for you, Joker. So I think it's you. You both said higher ground,
Yeah.
and then in chat, there's two that have gone for outrun. Oh no, it's Mercurius going for it twice. Everybody else has said higher ground. Higher ground. I've got a little story about higher ground. You try to find somewhere you can wait out the flood, somewhere at a high elevation that won't be consumed by the rising water. Thanks to the darkness and the fog, you won't be able to scan the town's skyline to look for such a place, and will instead have to rely on your memory. The only place close that comes to mind would be the nearby church. If the worst should happen, you could climb up to the bell tower to wait out the flood. You rush towards the house of worship. You see its solid grey stonework peeking out at you from the fog, providing a sense of comfort and security. You push open the church's large double doors and slip inside, quickly closing the doors behind you, in hopes they will, at least, buy you some time before the water seeps in. You rush to the stairs leading up to the bell tower and climb them as quickly as you can. You soon find yourself looking out over Esbury. The town itself is shrouded in mist, but from this high vantage point you can see over the fog to the lake beyond. Large, undulating waves break the surface of the normally placid waters, and the stars and gibbous moon are brightly reflected from the dark backdrop. Finding yourself in relative safety, you finally have a moment to pause and reflect. You take a deep breath, bowing your head in thought, or perhaps prayer. Your mind is in a whirl, but eventually a single thought breaks through, determining your course of action. If you know a ritual chant, now is the time you may choose to use it. But we don't. Those aren't the waves. They are lizards. Possibly. You resolve to simply wait it out. You have a wonderful view of the spectacle that unfolds. The waters of the lake rise continually and rapidly. It's now to a point where it must be over some of the buildings in Esbury, though you cannot see into the thick fog below. You wonder at the loss of life and property. Though the lake continues to rise, seemingly without source and without end, this is the least of the oddities that transpire. Through the mist you spot scattered flames illuminating sections of the town. You find this especially strange, since there seems to be no discernible pattern or reason for it, especially in a place that must be half submerged by now. Perhaps the fires are on the roofs of the taller building, but what could the purpose of that possibly be? All the while there is screaming, the howls of people afraid of the water, the desperate cries of the lost, the startled shouts of those woken from sleep to find themselves in grave danger, and the more primal screams of abject terror. You glance back over toward the lake itself, wanting to turn your attention away from the horrible suffering in town. You see the water rising in great rippling waves, all emanating from a single central point. You try to find their exact origin. Bizarrely, the spot seems to correspond with the moon's reflection. You are unable to make out any details of what might be causing the waves, though. You absent-mindedly direct your gaze toward the gibbous moon hanging overhead and note yet another baffling sight. Great clouds of mist seem to be rising toward the moon from the ground, extending in long, wispy columns up into the heavens, or perhaps streaming down from above. You are uncertain of which, or if it even matters. You do not think it does. Looking back towards the town, you find it all beneath the water now, save for your little island. The waves crest a mere 12 inches below your feet, and you know there is no escaping the rising tide. Resigned as you are to your fate, you still aren't prepared for what happens next. The waves stop suddenly. Everything falls silent and still. Then a long, lizard-like head rises from the water. It is covered in scales coloured like the sea. The detestable lizard thing's mouth opens, revealing rows of needle-like teeth as it emits a hissing sound that pierces the night and your very soul. And then its eyes open. Orbs of pure malevolence fix themselves on you. It watches you for a second, a minute, an eternity. And then the stones beneath your feet shift, and you tumble into the water. You know it's the lizard thing's doing, though it hasn't moved since its head broke free of the lake. As you sink beneath the surface, you look upward, see the horrible lizard thing darting toward you in the light of the gibbous moon. You pray you'll drown before it takes you, but your fate is not so kind. Your demise serves only to feed the horrible, detestable water lizard that is Bokrug, great old one, and doom of the cities of Sarnath and Esprit.
Damn the frog.
You have died. Thank you for playing, and we hope you've enjoyed this adventure. Your visit to Esprit is over. The end. And thus the adventure claims us again. Ah, Mercurius, you probably were right. You probably were right. But we shall never know. We shall never, ever know. Well, heck, we have time for Yog to read us the story. Which story? Which story?
The story you said you was going to tell, I think.
Oh, the story about Higher Ground. I managed to make it to my 27th year before I realized it was a cover version. I'd only ever heard the Chili Peppers version. And I was at a friend of mine's stag party in Australia at 4 o'clock in the morning, having been drinking for 16 hours, arguing the toss. Because I knew it was a Chili Peppers song, and there was a live band playing at 4 o'clock in the morning, and they played Higher Ground. I was like, oh, they're playing a Chili Peppers song. And this guy next to me went, no, it's a Stevie Wonder song. And I was like, no, it's a Chili Peppers song. And he was like, no, it's a Stevie Wonder song. We were both hammered. But that day I found out it was a Stevie Wonder song that became a Chili Peppers song. 16 hours into a drinking session in Sydney, Australia, in 1997.
Halfway across the world.
The worst thing about the best thing about drinking session is I'd been drinking on the flight from, I got no idea what time of day it would be that I'd land in Australia. And I flew down from Osaka to Brisbane, and I was sat at the back of the plane with a couple of Aussie surfers drinking Sapporo lager on the plane. And we got quite tiddly because you're a higher pressurized environment. And my mate who I was visiting didn't know I was visiting him until I got off the plane in Brisbane and phoned him to say I'd be at, I needed to pick him up in an hour and a half from Sydney Airport. And I found out it was actually 6:30 in the morning. and he was staring at me. What the hell are you doing here? But in proper Australian language. And I jumped into his car and I was like, "All right, Mark, how you doing? Oh, nice to see you, John. Oh, blah 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 blah." So how was your stag do? He goes, "I don't know. I haven't had it yet." He said, "Well, when does it start?" I said, "Well, okay. Well, when is your stag do?" He went, "In 4 hours from now." I'd been awake for 36 hours, on a plane for 25 of those hours. I hadn't slept, not even a single wink. I got about 3 hours sleep on his floor, then got kicked awake and dragged out on an 18-hour drinking session in the middle of Sydney. And that's when I had the argument with this guy about Higher Ground. So there you go. There you go. Wasn't it worth it? Wasn't it worth it? And I mean, I don't know how well Mercurius knows Sydney, but we were in the King's Cross area of Sydney at about 3 a.m, and it's rough as arses that around there. It's the red light district. So everywhere we went, there were people with Eastern European accents trying to drag us into seedy whorehouses. You were Queenslander, right? Okay. We were just looking for places to drink that were open with music. We weren't interested in any of that sort of stuff. We just wanted to get plastered. Well, we were plastered. We were absolutely bollocksed. But it was a good night. It was a good day. Yes, good. And that was before Australia became really expensive as well. Things were affordable. Good value for money on that day out. And food was cheap. Beer was about the same price as here, based on the exchange rate then. But the exchange rate's really shifted since. Stupidly expensive now.
Well, they got very popular after a few years, didn't they?
Well, I mean, I don't know. Australia's probably it's a victim of its own success, I guess, in terms of strength of currency and all of that. That happens quite often. I enjoyed the place. I liked it. I liked the people. I enjoyed the food. Enjoyed the beer. I enjoyed the general vibe of it, even though I mean Sydney is Australia's equivalent of London. I mean, I'd rather have seen smaller places, because I know Sydney can be it's a London type place, and London can be a bit standoffish, but I didn't see any of the standoffishness when I was there. I enjoyed it. Were they terrible? It was 27 years ago. So were they terrible 27 years ago? I'm just erasing our character who's just died. Oh dear. Oh dear. Okay. I did like Japan as well. The best thing about Japan is, for the first time in my life, I felt quite tall.
Yeah.
I walked across Osaka Airport, and it was just so wonderful. I wasn't staring at people's armpits all the time. I didn't feel tall. I felt average height, which was nice. But no, I wasn't. My nose wasn't at armpit level.
That's fine.
I like the food in Japan as well.
Yeah. Apparently my son's home.
I wasn't doing judo at the time. I was a lazy fat lump. I did judo for 2 years when I was sort of 9, 10, 11, that sort of age. And then school got in the way. And then when my kids... My kids reached... My daughter reached 7. And she got a bit of sort of pent-up attitude. So we thought, we'd try with martial arts. We took them to a judo club. And they were 7 and 4. And after a couple of months of watching them train, I was like, I'm going to join them. And I trained for 8 years. It took a little bit to come back. I mean, obviously, I wasn't as fit or as flexible as I had been when I was 10 years old. But then I'd forgotten all the moves, because that happens. Right. We're going to start this adventure again. We've got to do better this time. Okay?
Yeah.
Now we know that getting to know Banyu is a good idea. There's a bit with fisticuffs, so we might do with a bit of punching ability. There's a gun to find. Archaeology could be useful. There we go. Are you ready? Are you sitting comfortably?
We shall begin.
We shall begin again. The sun sinks low on the horizon as you board the ferry headed across the lake to Esbury. As you set foot on the boat, the ferryman greets you with a wide smile and a cheery wave. He stands by the gangplank as you pass, welcoming the other passengers as he removes his cap to scratch at his balding head. His pudgy figure fills his well-worn suit. He looks a little awkward, but seems a rather pleasant sort. Leaving the man behind you, you take a seat toward the prow, eyes fixed on your destination. Go to 12. We need brute force, brains, and stealth. Yes, yes. So, which story? Is it the story of Bokrug or whatever? Don't pay the ferryman. Yes, that's
That's a good tune.
Christa
really
Berg,
like
isn't it? The Doom That Came to Sarnath. Ah, okay. How long is it? Right. I do want to show you all something. This is how I work out what I'm gonna read. HP Lovecraft word count. Lovecraft's word counts. See this here? At the moment, I'm focusing on these shorter ones. So the Doom That Came to Sarnath is 2,600. Very similar length to the Statement of Randolph Carter. That's fine. Yeah, it's 15 to 20 minutes, isn't it? Right. I'll do that this week. The longest one I've read so far is The Call of Cthulhu, which is 11,905 words. That was about an hour and 20 minutes. Those videos didn't do very well either. Maybe because it's 3 parts and they're quite long. The Case of Charles Dexter Ward. You're talking 5 hours, 6 hours for that one. Yep. Okay, but this is where I work out what I'm gonna read from here, and there's some of these on here are written. See this one, The Little Glass Bottle. I think he was 7 years old when he wrote that. I'm tempted to read it. Charles, the BBC thing I've often talked about, the BBC Sounds. The Case of Charles Dexter Ward was the basis of that, and there was another 2 that were mentioned. Was The Whisper in Darkness and I'm not sure the other one. Whisper in Darkness, Case of Charles Dexter Ward. I'm not sure which other one they mixed in there, but I loved that. Thought it was really, really good. Really, really good. Anyway. So yeah. Do you want me to read it on the stream now instead of playing this book through? Or do you want me to record an audio version? Or do you want me to do both? Go on, have a vote. Have a vote.
So what are the options again?
For me to, instead of playing through the book, just read the story now. It'll be about 18 to 20 minutes.
I think I says both, really.
Jeb reckons record a version. Okay. Straw Piglet says play the book. Okay. No worries. No worries.
I go
Play and record later. Okay. Okay. That's fine. That's fine. Keith wants both. Right. General Nut chooses D. As in table flip.
That's funny.
Right. You settle into a seat with your thin briefcase resting on your lap, noticing that the rest of the passengers are likewise getting comfortable for the short trip across the lake. Glancing around, you catch sight of the ferryman entering the cabin. As you sit patiently and wait for the engine to come to life, you listen to the sounds of idle chatter around you. You look out across the water and notice a thin fog beginning to form over the surface of the water as the temperature drops with the approach of night. After a few minutes, you hear the engine splutter into action and feel the ferry lurch forward. The conversations around you continue as the ferryman joins you all on deck. You can't help overhearing most of the talk, though it's surprisingly banal. There are almost a dozen passengers on the ferry. Most of them are simply looking to spend their money during their weekend in Esbury and to enjoy the various shops and leisure activities the lakeside town has to offer. Many of the passengers seem to come for money, as is common in Esbury. You notice a strange look from one of the women in the group. She has a full figure and brown hair and eyes. She seems to be looking at you, admiring your features.
Can we check our flies?
Yeah, flies down. Right, okay. Now we're going to vote where we put our 80. So which stat shall we put the 80 on? Strength, constitution, size, dex, appearance, intelligence, power, or education? Where are we going to put our 80? What was that, Daniel? Intelligence. Okay.
Archaeology bonus? What would that come under?
That's going to be when we pick the profession. Fighting. Can't put it into fighting yet. One for education. Another one for intelligence.
Strength roll.
Mercurius goes for dex. So we've got to, chat, you've got to decide where we put the 80. Full figure, is that the polite way of saying obese? Yeah, it is. Keith says dex. Mercurius, you can't pick 2. Not yet.
And a little bit of wisdom.
Int is winning at the moment. One of my favourite mechanics is in Call of Cthulhu is the fact that a bit of intelligence is a bit of a trade-off. It's not always a good thing. Yeah, never int in Call of Cthulhu. Never int. Never. Not ever. It's not good to know things. You might think you're getting all these skill points early on, but when the game starts, you want to be failing those intelligence checks.
Or like a lot of porridge.
Sure would have been nice to know that chant. I think, would we have got that from archaeology? I don't know. I really don't know. So, if you've not yet voted, I've only got 6 votes so far. Strength, con, size, dex, app, int, Pow, and Edu.
A little bit of edu.
Yes, we do need to get rid of persuade and take charm. I think you're right there. I'm gonna write down the ones that we basically failed dismally on. There we go. Straw Piglet. Oh, Halakar wants to switch his vote to education. And there's a strength vote. Oh, yeah. So all right. Yeah, we're not going to be a private investigator this time. So education is our 80. Now we have a 70. Where are we going to put the 70? And it can't be edu because we've already put the 80 on that. We can't have 150. Strength. Dex. Andy reckons app. Mercurius says size. General Nut says size. Strength and Dex. Right. Strength has got a 2-tick lead. So strength it is. Strength 70. Okay. We have 2 60s. 2 60s. Everybody gets to make 2 votes here. Just drawn on my book. Oops. We've got con, size, dex, app, int, and pow. So make 2 votes. Can't have strength again, Straw Piglet. No, we've already got strength. A strength of 70. Ralph, dex and size. Halakar, dex and appearance. General Nut, dex and size.
Same as Andy.
You're going the same as Andy, dex and appearance. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Size and appearance. Dex and appearance. Dex and size. Size and what, Piglet? 2 votes, 2 stats. 1 for size and 1 for one other. Size and app is there. Right, Dex has got 7 votes. Size has got 6. App has got 6.
Oh, we got a tie.
We're very close. Very, very close. Has anybody not voted? We've already got some strength, Robert. Already got some strength. We've got 70 strength and 80 education so far. The fog rolls in. I need to get my old big vape out, the one that runs at 80 odd watts. You wouldn't see me. You wouldn't see me. It would just be like, I don't use it anymore. Not until that.
Voice of the fog.
I did about 3 years of puffing on like a chimney. Pardon me. Chartered accountant with a boxing background. Might be a good idea. Okay, I'm going to roll odds and evens. It gives you them. It in the book it says allocate the following values amongst your characteristics: a 40, 250, 350s, 260s, a 70, and an 80. Right. So we're definitely putting a 60 on Dex. Okay. So we've got a 60 on Dex, and it's 50-50 on size and app, because I've already written down the fact that you've voted a size one there, Piglet. So 50-50. Odds and evens. Odds, size. Evens, app. Appearance. 350s, and one of them's going to go into size. Actually, let's just decide where we put the 40. Where do we put our lowest one? Con, int, or pow? Our lowest one on con, int, or pow?
Con.
Con. Looks like people are going for con. 4 votes for con. Con. Yeah, I wouldn't get it. I wouldn't get it. Okay, so con gets the 40. Int 50, pow 50. Right. That means we have 9 hit points. We have a dodge of 30. And go to 80. Keep meaning to sharpen this pencil that I've got on my desk here. It's very, very blunt. The woman clearly sees something in you that she likes. The appearance of 60. Perhaps it's your looks or a glint of intelligence in your eyes. No, it's not intelligence. She gives you a sly wink before turning back to her companions. You likewise turn your attention to the rest of the passengers. Sitting apart from the general crowd are 2 men in dark, well-tailored suits, whispering quietly to each other. They have unamused expressions on their faces, as if they don't seem pleased to be here. Perhaps they're on business. Noticing that you're sitting alone, the ferryman approaches you and stands over you with his characteristic smile. You notice he's missing a tooth in the upper left corner of his mouth. His eyes are bright as they light upon you. Good afternoon. You look a bit lonely there, friend. What brings you to Esbury? Here's our options. Perhaps it's our size. Well, hey! Right. These are our possible classes and professions. Antiquarian. Author. Dilettante. Doctor of medicine. Journalist. Police detective. Or professor.
One piqued my interest, and I can't remember it was early on.
Antiquarian or author?
Author, that was it.
So author, professor, dilettante, prof, professor. We belong in a museum.
Wow.
We're a professor with int 40. Professor of the Flat Earth Society.
The real Earth, yes. The flying turtle and four elephants. 3 elephants.
So we've got 5 votes for Professor, 1 for Antiquarian, 1 for Author, 1 for Dilettante. So we are a Professor. Okay.
As long as our assistant isn't carrying Nitro 9, we'll be fine.
Okay. Let me go get my book. Call of Cthulhu. Keep it. Keep a rulebook. Keep a rulebook. Right. I'm just going to quickly whip through the assigning these because it took a little too long last time. So whip away. Indeed.
The other song from Calamity Jane.
Whip crack away, whip crack away, whip crack away.
Yeah, that was the other one was the B-side.
Library use, other language, own language, psychology, any 4 other skills as academic or personal specialities. We do now know we don't need to win the auction. So I'm not gonna education times 4, we got 320 skill points. So I'm not going to waste a lot on credit rating. Because we can get the stuff by winning that fight, can't we? So what we're going to have, let me have a little look. 40 40 40 50 50 50 60 60 70. All right, well, no, we're going to put a 40 in credit rating. 40 40 40. So it doesn't matter about our education, to be honest. 50 50 50. I could do actually making a character for this and actually trying to make him right for the adventure. So I'm going to put 70 into fighting brawl and 60 into archaeology. Don't think anyone's going to argue with those. And it looks like a bit of charm helps as well. And I'm going to put 50 into anthropology because that okay. Now with those done, I've got to get another language. Should we go for Latin?
Me, yes, we did die.
Yeah, we died. We croaked.
By
We
the
got
fog.
splatted. Yeah, the fog got us. Library use, psychology. And it says put 40 into own language, but that's wrong because you put your education level into that. So we're missing 40 points. So I'm just going to put 40 into something suitable. History. Okay. And then 7 personal interest skills to boost by 20%. Right. Here's where I put a bit of a praise in because that will be useful. You can find a gun, so I'm going to boost that. It's 2. I'm going to put 20 into dodge. Let's get that up. Puts me into spot hidden and to stealth. It's 5. Let's think. Listen and natural world. Right. One more. Occult. Okay. So yeah, we've got psychology 50. So we've got accounting 25, anthropology 50, appraise 25, archaeology 60, charm 60, credit rating 40, dodge 50, fighting ball 70, handgun 40, history 40, Latin 40, own language 80, because that's our education stat. Library use 50, listen 40, natural world 30, occult 25, psychology 50, spot hidden 45, swim 40. All the others are standard. Right. We have 50 sanity. We have 10 magic points and 3d6. 1, 2, 3. Oh, we've only got 30 luck points. So we have to be very careful with luck. Here we go. Our character is made. We are a professor with bad intelligence. If you are a professor, turn to 23. You mention the passing of a distant colleague in Esbury and how you've been sent by Miskatonic to recover his work and bring it back to the university. The man sighs and nods slowly. You mean Professor Harris? It's a shame what happened to him. Always seemed like such a nice man. Officer Powell says they're still cleaning up the mess at the professor's place. But some of the more valuable bits will probably be at the estate sale tonight if you're really wanting at it. The man looks down at his hands for a moment and then back at you as he extends one your way. Anyway, I'm Lance. Lance Sanford. Pleased to meet you, but I wish it were under better circumstances, eh? Okay. What do we want to talk to Lance about? Do we talk to Lance about Professor Harris, Officer Powell, about himself, about the estate sale, or don't we want to talk to Lance?
Himself. Let's get his ego up.
So it's up to chat to vote. We're chatting to Lance, so do we ask him about himself, Professor Harris, Officer Powell, or the estate sale, or nothing?
Himself. What?
Jeb says Officer Harris. Iman's game seems to be going on tonight. Oh, there's 4 of them there now. Mr. Freeze is playing as well.
All right.
Shall I if I was on OBS right now, if I jumped in, you'd all be able to hear them. We could raid them, but no, I'm not logged into OBS. I'm streaming through StreamYard, so can't. Sorry. So we've got himself, officer. Right, okay. Asking him about himself as one clearly. To ask Lance Sanford about himself. Turn to 42. You ask Sanford about himself and he beams a big, bright smile your way. I've lived in Esbury for years, since back before the rich folk found the place and turned it into a little vacation spot. My father owned the ferry to and from the town, and he passed it on to me when he got too old to do it himself anymore. I love it here. I can't imagine living anywhere else. The lake is so clear and clean. I guess that's why we get so many visitors. This place has definitely grown since I was younger, though. Sometimes I miss the way things were before, but I love Esbury all the same, even now. You'll like it here too. Sanford winks at you. You exchange a few more pleasantries with Sanford before he goes off to finish guiding the boat into port. You pass the time in casual conversation with the other passengers and in observing the scenery. You note the tall pines and the sloping hills along the lake shore around Esbury. These features and the small town beyond are just visible through the growing mist, but squinting helps make them out to your satisfaction. In time, you arrive on the pier at Esbury, grateful to be off the water. Go to 3. It's the lizards keeping it clean, eating all the algae and bugs. You take your first steps onto the pier with the rest of the ferry passengers, trying to get your land legs once again. The passengers still chat casually as they walk off to their destinations. You know, one last little flirty wink from the full-figured woman as she struts along confidently behind the women accompanying her, and you feel the 2 dark-suited men push past you at a brisk pace, nudging you out of their way. Sanford gives you one last wave and a smile as he begins tending to the old rust-stained boat that is his pride and joy. The last light of the sun is fading fast, and the fog is growing thick on the water now. The night is still young, but you would rather not be wandering around in the dark and fog of a town you're unfamiliar with. Taking in your surroundings, you see a sizable crowd jockeying for entrance into a lavish, modern-looking building along the lakeside. A folding sign sits out front, illuminated by a lantern. The words estate sale tonight are written on it in large, bold letters. While this seems to be the main attraction, you could also seek out somewhere to stay for the night and set about your work in the morning. Right. Do we go to the estate sale, or do we look for somewhere to stay? Estate sale or somewhere to stay?
Let's crash.
Yeah, let's crash our asses. Sweet talk the widow.
Somehow, yeah, we've never crashed before, have we? We've crashed and burned.
Many times.
Yes, I think this adventure's killed us at least 3 times now.
The road goes on forever and the party never ends.
Howdy, partner. I mean, I know you're a Johnny Cash fan, but to look at your Joker, I never had you penciled in as a country fan.
Blame my good upbringing and my parents and my nan and granddad.
I just assumed you'd be into something metal related.
Well, the strange thing is, obviously I was born in '79, so obviously I grew up around when the hard metal and
Grunge
all that. But
sort of.
Growing up, I kind of found my dad's records, my granddad's records, more than actually listening to what was being played in the charts.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
I knew about him, but I never really took any notice.
No, Mom, I'm not.
I was like that strange kid at school that's always like 20 years behind the times in music.
Oh, you got the other one.
I think those words, I was like that. I was that strange kid at school. Will be something that almost everybody in chat will.
It's supposed to be green.
Will know, because I was a strange kid at school. I think most of chat were probably strange kids at school. We were the nerds.
Still look good though.
The nerds.
But I thought It's going to be either the gold or the.
Yeah, this one's supposed to be green.
Sorry, guys.
I tried to grow my hair to look like Robert Smith of The Cure when I was at school. I couldn't afford the amount of hairspray that he uses, though. So my just used to go like a big fro.
Hey, you can now.
What, afford hairspray?
Yeah.
I just don't have the hair anymore.
Swings and roundabouts, John. Swings and roundabouts. Don't worry.
You weren't a strange kid in school, Alakar.
No, it's everybody else.
You're a normal kid who's become a strange adult. Is that what it is?
Probably about right.
Yeah.
Sounds about better.
Don't get me wrong. Good in that. Don't get me.
You grew your hair to look like Michael Praed in Robin of Sherwood.
Yeah.
Different hobbies and some. Yeah, that's fair enough. It's fair enough. Okay, so are we're going to find somewhere to stay rather than go to the sale this time? Yeah. Go to 26. We might have failed the book already. I don't know.
Why break tradition?
Yeah. That's done with this.
No, we're not doing the auction. People have voted not to do the auction this time. So, tough titty poos. You were accused of looking like that guy from Wham, but not the strange one, George Michael. Not the straight one, George Michael. Oh, they got it the wrong way round, didn't they? Yes, because the one that you looked like ended up marrying one of Pepsi and Shirley, I believe, and George Michael, no.
Ended up getting caught outside the toilet in the park.
Yes, yes. While the estate sale seems interesting, you would feel more secure with a roof over your head for the night.
Go.
You pull someone out of the crowd and inquire as to where you could find a room to rent. You're directed a few blocks into town to a modestly priced hotel, a few buildings down from Esbury's police station. As you enter in from the cool night air, you're greeted by the heat of a roaring fire. The small front room feels stuffy and cramped. The bulk of the space is dominated by the large service counter, behind which sits a wiry-looking wisp of a woman. She turns her wide eyes to you and asks your name, then quotes you a price that's more than fair. With the transaction complete, you haul your thin briefcase up the stairs, unpack it, and settle into your room for the night. Yes. Dog thinks we made a mistake. Dog knows. Dog knows we made a mistake. Because we haven't looked at any of the stuff or talked to anybody or anything. But that might be the best thing to do. Don't know. You wake in the morning grateful for the rest. You rise from your bed and take in the modest surroundings that make up your room. The furnishings are sparse, a small, poor-quality dresser and a cramped and dusty writing desk tucked in the corner. Sitting atop the desk is a plate of eggs and toast, apparently set out for you by the hotel's owner. The walls are plain and unadorned, save for a single window that faces towards the lake. However, this view is currently blocked by the incredibly thick fog that has taken on a pale green hue. Your vision is obscured entirely, and you cannot see into the depths of that outlandish green mist. You also notice your personal belongings placed around the room exactly as you left them the night before. Turn to 106. After getting dressed and eating the modest breakfast set out for you, you're ready to begin your day. You take a moment to consider what that means for you. Your mind turns to Professor Harris. If you're so inclined, you might be able to investigate the circumstances of his death further. Considering that you don't have his widow Amelia's address, you would have to start your search with the official report filed with Officer Powell at the police station. Alternatively, you could take this free time to look through your belongings and examine any items you might have which we don't have. The hotel owner has been in your room, so a check of your things might be in order. Or perhaps you have some other reason to look over your possessions. Finally, if you feel your business in Esbury is concluded, we just came to stay at a hotel for the night, you can always try and find Lance Sanford at the ferry. Options here: police station, items, or ferry.
Ferry.
I think we are missing. I think Daniel just wants to leave.
Yeah.
Police station, items, or ferry. The monk might know the chant. Police station, the polis. He just wants to live. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Police. Do we have a vote from Joker?
Ferry.
Ferry. They missed a trick here. The ferryman should be called Brian.
especially spelt with a Y.
With a Y, yes.
Yeah.
I have a
That's
signed
funny. That's my stepson's name. Same
I have a
spelling.
I have a signed photo of him somewhere.
Talk to Lance. Okay. Ferry. Go see the Popo. Did we need faster? Well, maybe. Right, 4-3 at the moment. 4 for ferry, 3 for police. We have got ourselves in trouble with the cop before. We did need to talk to people at the auction, but maybe we'll find something else we shouldn't do in this run through, because I'm pretty sure we're going to die. Any more votes, people? We've got 4 votes for ferry, 3 for police. You know what I'm looking forward to about my time off work? Being able to have a full day of OSE tomorrow.
Yay!
Without being interrupted by customers. Without having to hurry home, grab myself a takeaway, and hurry onto the computer to run the game. I can just do it leisurely. 2 more votes for ferry. Okay, we're going to go see Brian. Lance.
I'm going to have to love you and leave you guys.
Oh, yeah? All right.
Yeah.
Cheers, Joker. You pause to consider the strange green coloration of the fog and its incredible thickness. You wonder if it's even safe to be out on the water with visibility so limited. You decide to head to the docks first to see if the ferry is still running before hauling all your possessions down to the lake shore. You venture out into the cloying green mist and walk briskly towards the docks. You arrive to find Sanford pacing the deck of his boat with a small flask in his hand. He stares out into the fog, lost in thought, before you rouse him by inquiring about the passage out of town. He confirms your fears. Sorry, can't take her out like this. Can barely see 3 feet in front of me. The lake is fairly tame, but I'd have no way of telling where the shore is or if any other boats might be out on the water. I like you, but it's too dangerous. Just can't risk it. I've rarely seen a fog this thick and this green. Never seen anything like it. I'm staying put. You know that nothing you could say could possibly convince him. Resigned to your fate, you head back towards the rest of town. Police station or hotel now is are our choices. Police or hotel. And yes, I will have the Olympic judo on for best part of the next 2 weeks. When I'm at work, it'll be on in the shop. When I'm not at work, it'll be on at home. I watch all of it. Love it. Love it to bits. I need to look at the British team actually, because at the Commonwealth Games, there were some people competing that Holly trained with. Well, on the same mat as. Training with is a bit of a stretch because she was like 15, 16, and they were like 18, 19, 20 odd. Training for national squad, where she was training for the regional development squad, but they all trained together. So there's a few names taking part that we know, hopefully. The Olympics is on, yes. 2 votes for police. Despite some people's best efforts to not make it on. Did you hear they've been Daniel, the trains going to Paris for the Olympics, they've been bombing the train lines. It's eerily reminiscent of our Tuesday Call of Cthulhu game, where Croat separatists are bombing the Orient Express line. Yeah, thought that was a little bit of an oddity. Let's try the police, but don't be stupid, okay? I know there's strange things afoot in France. Oh,
I can't find them on TV here.
You can't?
Yeah, which is weird because I get like 700 channels. So
Bloody hell.
But they're not on.
Hello, everybody.
Traitor.
You jealous?
No, yeah, we've died.
Oh no! Oh,
we died. We've started again.
Well, Straw Piglet will be glad to know I did something heroic.
Did you?
I did, yeah. We could talk about that another time, though.
So we're going for the police. We're going for the police. Okay.
Hello, everybody. The Brazen Strumpet has returned.
The new RPG whore. Police station 11.
Oh.
So how was the game? Good?
Oh, it was good, mate. It was one of us didn't show up, so it was just me and GM, some called Jason. But yeah, the session was great. Yeah.
Who didn't show up?
Aaron.
I
Mr.
don't know.
Freeze.
I did see he popped in later, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Yeah, I could see it happening in this. I was thinking that it might be amusing if I was streaming through Thingamy, OBS. I could have jumped in, and OBS would have picked up all the conversation that's going on.
Oh, okay.
And your game would have come out on this stream. No, I wouldn't do that. All right, you step out into the greenish mist. You feel it clinging tightly to you as you make your way the short distance to the police station. Upon entering the small brick building, you are struck with a sense of claustrophobia. The walls here are uncomfortably close together and space is tight. Crammed into the tiny structure are a large desk, several filing cabinets, and a few chairs. A closet-sized holding cell with iron bars sits at the rear of the room. Behind the large desk is Officer Powell, smoking a cigar with his feet propped up on the table. His coat is unbuttoned and his hat lies on top of a stack of papers next to a battered old revolver. He opens one eye and frowns at you, sighing through his cigar as he straightens himself up to look presentable. If you're bothering me right now, I'm going to assume this is important. You mentioned that you would like to see the police report for Professor William Harris's death, to which he replies with a snort. You have no business dealing with that. And even if you did, this is my jurisdiction. Shove off and leave me in peace. He doesn't seem cooperative. Perhaps you can convince him that you have some special circumstance that warrants you looking through his files. Here we go. I didn't put any points into fast talk. Sorry, forgot about that one. We've got 5 in fast talk. Ha! 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 Ha!
What happened?
I rolled 01.
Nice.
Look at that.
I know, Wes. The end of the world.
Look at that. Has he had a stroke? Is that how bad my accent sounded? Smoking a cigar with his feet again. Yes. Yes.
Very impressive.
01. We've passed the fast talk. Oh. Yeah. And it's a good success as well.
I wish I could save my natural ones for Call of Cthulhu instead of the OSC.
Yeah. If you succeed, we have.
Oh, John, I forgot to tell you because I've been waiting to speak to you. I got the job. Fucking let's go.
Let's go, indeed. You're employed again. Yes. I think we get one of these in chat for that.
Oh, thanks, Andy.
Did you know that there is an Iman thingy in the emotes in the emoji section? There it is.
I can't see it.
You can't see it.
Oh, there it is.
See?
Now I see it. Oh, it's me. Yeah, I see it.
It's you with your eyes closed. There we go.
Thanks, Straw Piglet. Thanks, Jeb. Thanks, Curious. It's like an administrative customer service sort of role.
Yeah, it's a foot in the door, isn't it?
Yes.
It's a foot in the door, and that's what you want. And you said afterwards you felt like you had a good interview. You had a good chat with the guy. So
got a little surprise for you as well, sir.
Oh, thank you muchly. Thank you muchly.
Nearly born.
You're nearly born. Yes.
Thanks, Halakar. Straw Piglet, I wish.
Is it show as locked? Are you able to use that? Because
oh yeah, it's only available to members. Yeah, that's right.
Oh right, okay. Can I make it so they're available to everyone, or is that a limitation?
No, it's literally a member perk.
Oh right, okay. Because we do have other ones. You see, we do have this one.
We've got a Yog. We've got a
For me.
else.
And we have, this fine one as well. There we are.
Nice.
We have a Sleepy Daniel one.
Oh,
Eldav. Eldav. Thank you, Mercurius. Mercurius being a star. Being a star. Beautiful. 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 Right. So, with all those congratulations done, when do you start, by the way?
Monday.
Oh, brilliant. Brilliant.
Yeah, straight in the door.
Straight in. No messing. No
That's
messing. Good.
Oh, and I got my tax refund today. And one of my mum's pupils passed a driving test today. So it's all good news.
Hey! Happy days all around. You imply that you know the right sort of people who might ask the wrong sort of questions if you don't get access to that report. You aren't certain whether or not Officer Powell believes you, but you can tell it's more trouble than he's willing to risk. With a look of irritation, he thumbs through the stack of papers on his desk before handing you the file you asked after. According to the report, Professor Harris's death is officially a suicide. His death occurred at his home address. He was up late one night in his study where he stuck a gun into his mouth and painted the room red. His body was found the following afternoon by his wife, Amelia Harris. There was no note. The deceased had no prior criminal history, and the gun found at the scene hadn't been used in any reported crimes. Overall, the report is dry and minimalist. All requisite information is present, but only to the barest standard of diligence. Satisfied, you hand the file back to Powell, who grumbles and tucks it away before clearing his throat loudly and propping his feet back up. You feel that you have been given a cue to leave, and that Officer Powell will not likely be of much further help. So, do we go to the Harris household now, or do we return to the hotel? Harris house or hotel?
Hotel.
Hotel.
I've missed all the backstory and context, but I would say Harris House.
House, hotel. Any more votes? I'm going to go on for another 10 minutes on this stream. It's 10 minutes to midnight. And I'll be up in the morning, and I'm going to be drawing maps for OSE games and
Nice.
populating them with goodness for people in the evening.
It's OSE on Saturday evening, isn't it? And morning.
Yeah, we're playing. It's a double-barreled
Double
OSE
OSE.
tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah, double bubble.
Would
Oh,
Mr.
yeah.
Mohammed Goldstein be joining us?
I know not.
Tomorrow, I may have to bail early on the early session. I forgot about my grandson's birthday party.
Oh,
I didn't even know you had a
Oh.
grandson.
Well, he's a step grandson. Actually, I have 5 other grandkids from my oldest daughter.
ah.
And this one is my step grandson.
Okay.
So it's a big extended family.
Well, the oldest daughter is a stay-at-home mom. Her husband has a really good job.
Well, with 5 kids, she's busy at home. I'd imagine.
Oh no, that's a job. Yeah.
It is, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely, absolutely. Okay, we only had a couple of votes. We've only had 3 votes for hotel, so everyone else has voted Harris House.
Thank God my youngest 2 haven't given me any grandkids yet.
I should hope not.
Oh.
I mean,
Congratulations, Halakar.
Halakar got his first great niece on Wednesday night.
Cool.
Wow.
That makes you a great uncle, not just an uncle.
I have 1 brother, 1 sister. My brother is engaged. They're not going to have kids. There
Personal
are.
preference?
There's. I mean, he's 40. How old is he now? He's 46. She's a couple of years older. They both have medical issues.
Well, if
So,
she's that age, probably almost impossible to have kids, isn't it?
Yeah. They only met. They've been together about 5 or 6 years. She's lovely. They're a really nice couple. And I'm so glad that he met her, because my brother Tim has always found life quite difficult. He's deaf in one ear. He's got terrible eyesight. And he was diagnosed with spina bifida when he was 46. We knew he'd got spine issues, but they didn't actually do a proper spine scan. They just looked at his neck and his ears, which he'd always suffered with. So he was always a bit stuck in his own world, because whenever he got a head cold, he'd go deaf. His sinuses would block up his one good ear.
Oh dear.
And he suffered from a really bad vertigo. He'd have to have 3 weeks off work with a cold because he couldn't stand up. Life had always been rough, and then he met his missus, and she's moved down to our area, and they're engaged, and they live in his house. So, and my sister is married with 2 kids who are pretty much identical age to my own. We had our kids all at the same time. Her eldest is slightly older than Holly, and her youngest is slightly younger than Jake, but only slightly. We're only talking a matter of months. So all the oldest is, so between them, they're 20, 17, and 17. So I'm glad I've got no great nephews and great nieces and no grandkids yet, because it would all be a bit early around here. They're all at university and studying or doing apprenticeships or still at school, that sort of thing.
Oh yeah, you're not ready to be a granddad yet, are you?
No. Her mum said I'm now a great uncle. I told her I've always been a great uncle. Yes. A grunkle. Yeah. So my brother was an absolute star. He was my navigator when I was a rally driver. He had spina bifida when he was doing that. He was my mechanic as well. So whenever he howled in pain when we hit a bump in the road, which we hit many, we now know why. But he battled through it all.
I was going to say, I mean, fair play to him for still putting himself through that, because he didn't have to.
Yeah. Well, he did it for the thrills. He loved it. He thoroughly enjoyed building. He built the car. He's really, really good with his hands. Really mechanical.
But knowing he probably couldn't drive it himself, he was almost like experiencing it vicariously through you.
Yeah. Well, he was the navigator. He was my map reader, my timekeeper. But he used it for auto tests. I don't know if you ever seen an auto test.
I don't think so.
You get a field or a car park, you set up loads of cones, and you have to go around in a certain pattern, performing certain maneuvers as fast as possible.
Oh, right. As okay, yeah.
I was good at auto tests. In fact, he was better than me at auto tests. His close control of the car was better than mine. It's just that I had the balls at speed. So.
That's fair.
And I had better car control at speed, because Tim's senses weren't so good. Obviously, his balance wasn't so good. So when he's judging, when he drives a road car, he has to have special mirrors because he can't turn his head one way. So in a rally car, that would rule him out being able to drive a rally car.
Yeah, understandably.
Yeah. So,
And then if
but no.
he's deaf in one ear as well, then
Yeah.
his equilibrium will be off as well, won't it?
Absolutely. But auto tests are all first gear stuff.
Right.
It's you're in first gear, you're handbraking, you're stopping between cones, you're getting tightly around cones, and he's really good at that. It's all that was all first. So you're never going above 20, 25 mile an hour in an auto test because all the cones are really close together.
Yeah.
Anyway, where were we? Harris household is what we voted for. 90. This is the last one I'm going to read tonight. My eyes are tired, my head is tired, and I'm tired. And I'm looking forward to not having to get up for work in the morning. Yes.
What? No shift at all?
No shift. I'm off. I'm off now I'm off for a whole week, and then I'm at work for one day. Yeah, I'm at work for one day. I'm doing Saturday in my shop, so it'd be a nice laid back day, and then I'm off again Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. So I'm working one
It's been a
day.
while since you've been back in your shop on a Saturday, hasn't it?
Yeah. I'm working one day out of the next 11. And it's about time. I've done a lot of hours recently, so it's nice to have a bit of time off. But then when I go back, I'm doing 3 days at the busy shop, followed by 2 days at my shop. So you walk towards the Harris address. Even knowing the location, it's difficult for you to find your way due to your unfamiliarity with the town and the density of the peculiar green mist. As a result, it's some time before you arrive at the Harris house. As you approach the building, a man steps out of the fog, blocking your path. He's young and thin, with rather angular features and the faint hint of a moustache atop his lip. He's dressed in a dark suit and stares at you from beneath a flat cap. You're an unwelcome surprise. I don't know what you're looking for, but you won't find it here. Your eyes betray you as you glance at the Harris house. The man scowls visibly. Why don't you leave the poor widow alone, you creep? If you want to bother her, you're going to have to go through old Joshua here. Capiche? His hand brushes beneath his coat as if searching for something, but then he stops himself. He pauses for a moment, looking you over once more, before spitting on the ground at your feet and turning away. And this is a feeling of deja vu, because that's the passage I read to start this stream.
I thought it sounded familiar.
It's the passage I finished the last stream on, and the passage I read at the start of this stream, and it's where we are now. So I'm just going to circle the number 90, and we're going to be making that decision at the start of the next stream, because we have a decision to make.
Sounds good.
Did you enjoy it tonight, chaps?
Yes, always.
Yes, always. Thank you. I know which Lovecraft story to read next. There has been one requested. It's the one that this book appears to be based off. I haven't read it yet.
All right.
So I've got it written down on there. I will record it on Monday, I think. So we shall see. It was a good night, barring the death. Yeah. Cheers. I've enjoyed tonight. It's been nice. We've had a good turnout on the stream tonight. Some good chatter, and I think this is a good adventure. I like it as an adventure. It's more cohesive than some of the others, and there's less mechanics getting in the way. I know there's some issues with the mechanics in Alone Against the Dark. There was a bit of continuity issues in Alone Against the Dark as well. I enjoyed Static, apart from the writing style. Thought it was a good story.
Obviously, I've missed a lot of this one, but Static felt quite strong to me.
Yes. It's just that awkward writing.
I think it's because they have to account for both characters doing things.
No.
No, I was talking about the continuity, not the writing.
Oh yeah, the continuity. Yeah. The Alone Against the Frost, I'd like to try that again. It's a bit of a beast. There's quite a bit of prep involved for that one, and we only really scratched the surface. We just kept dying all the time with that. We never got very far. There must be something that we were missing. And we've done Flames. We've done Flames. So yeah, we met the Doom. We met a really good Doom, didn't we? Right. Anyway, I'm going to head off because my bed is calling.
Have a good night,
And
sir.
cheers. Thank you. Thank you. And I shall see whichever you are playing OSC tomorrow. Gene's running in the afternoon, and I'm running in the evening. And if for any reason Gene doesn't make it in the afternoon, I'll run both. I don't care. Don't care. We'll have some fun.
Cool.
Anyway, I'm off. Cheers
Night
all.
all.
Good night, all. Take care.